The psychology of victim selection. Understanding how serial killers choose their victims is perhaps the most crucial knowledge for your protection. This selection process is not random. It follows specific psychological patterns that, once understood, can help you avoid becoming a target. The predator's hunting ground. Serial killers don't hunt everywhere. They choose specific environments where they feel confident and in control. These comfort zones are typically areas they know well, where they understand the layout, the typical foot traffic patterns, and the response times of law enforcement. Geographic profiling. Most serial killers operate within a specific geographic area that includes their home, work, and frequently visited locations. This creates what criminologists call a hunting ground, an area where the killer feels psychologically comfortable and operationally confident. Victim availability. They hunt where their preferred victim type is readily available. If they target college students, they'll focus on campus areas, college bars, and student housing. If they prefer sex workers, they'll focus on areas where that population congregates. Escape routes. Successful serial killers always have multiple escape routes planned. They choose hunting grounds with quick access to highways, multiple exit points, and areas where a vehicle wouldn't attract attention. The selection criteria. Physical vulnerability indicators. Serial killers are cowards who avoid fair fights. They look for physical indicators of vulnerability such as small stature, apparent physical weakness, visible disabilities, or signs of intoxication. This doesn't mean that stronger or larger people are immune, but rather that killers prefer targets they believe they can easily overpower. Psychological vulnerability indicators. These are often more subtle but equally important. Killers look for people who appear sad, distracted, isolated, or emotionally vulnerable. Someone crying on a phone call, someone who appears lost or confused, or someone who seems socially isolated are all attractive targets. Social isolation indicators. People who appear to have weak social connections are preferred targets because they're less likely to be quickly missed. This might include tourists, people new to an area, or individuals who appear to be estranged from family or friends. Behavioral indicators. Certain behaviors make people attractive targets. This includes appearing trusting or naive, being overly helpful to strangers, showing poor situational awareness, walking while distracted by phones, wearing headphones in isolated areas, or displaying predictable routine patterns. The role of opportunity. Even when a serial killer has identified their preferred victim type, they still require the right opportunity to strike. Understanding these opportunity factors can help you avoid creating situations where you become vulnerable. Temporal opportunities. Most serial killer attacks occur during specific time windows when victims are most vulnerable and when the killer's chances of escape are highest. This typically includes late evening hours, early morning hours, and times when normal social supervision is reduced. Spatial opportunities. Killers need locations where they can approach victims without witnesses, where they can isolate victims from potential help, and where they can operate without interruption. This includes parking areas, stairwells, elevators, and transitional spaces between public and private areas. Social opportunities. These occur when normal social protection mechanisms are reduced. This might include situations where people are separated from their usual support networks, when social norms encourage interaction with strangers, or when people are in environments where their guard is naturally lowered. Case study. The Bundy methodology. Ted Bundy's victim selection process offers one of the most studied examples of serial killer methodology. Bundy was particularly successful because he understood how to exploit both victim vulnerabilities and social opportunities. Physical type. Bundy had a clear physical preference: young women with long, dark hair parted in the middle. This specificity was driven by his psychological needs, but it also allowed him to quickly identify potential targets in crowded environments. Vulnerability exploitation. Bundy was expert at identifying women who appeared helpful, trusting, and socially conscientious. He would fake injuries, wearing fake casts, using crutches, to appeal to women's natural helping instincts. He understood that most people, particularly women, are socialized to be helpful and polite, even at the expense of their own safety. Environmental selection. Bundy chose environments where his approach would seem natural and non-threatening. College campuses were ideal because students regularly interacted with strangers, people were accustomed to being asked for help with directions or carrying items, and the social environment encouraged trust and helpfulness. Authority manipulation. In some cases, Bundy impersonated authority figures or created situations where his approach seemed official or legitimate. He understood that people are conditioned to comply with authority figures and that questioning such figures often feels uncomfortable or rude. What made Bundy particularly dangerous was his ability to appear non-threatening. He was articulate, well-groomed, and superficially charming. He looked like someone you might know from college or work. This normalcy was his greatest weapon because it disarmed the natural suspicion that might protect potential victims. The predator's assessment process. When a serial killer encounters a potential victim, they conduct a rapid assessment that determines whether to pursue that person as a target. Understanding this assessment process can help you project the kind of awareness and confidence that deters predators. The situational assessment. They quickly evaluate the environment. Are there witnesses? How close is help? What are the escape routes? Are there surveillance cameras? Is the lighting adequate for their purposes? This assessment happens within seconds and influences whether they approach. The victim assessment. They look for signs of awareness versus distraction. Are you alert to your surroundings or focused on your phone? Do you make eye contact with people around you or do you avoid social contact? Do you walk with confidence and purpose or do you appear uncertain and vulnerable? The risk assessment. They evaluate their chances of success versus the risk of being caught. A victim who appears alert, confident, and potentially difficult to control represents a higher risk than someone who seems distracted, compliant, and physically vulnerable. The opportunity assessment. Even if you fit their preferred victim profile, they need the right opportunity. If you're surrounded by friends, in a well-lit public area, or clearly expected somewhere soon, you represent a poor opportunity regardless of other factors. Psychological manipulation techniques. Understanding how predators manipulate their chosen victims is crucial because these techniques can work on anyone, regardless of intelligence or education. The false emergency, creating a sense of urgency that bypasses normal decision-making processes. Please help me. My child is hurt and I need to get to the hospital, but my car won't start. This technique exploits our natural emergency response and makes us act before we think. The authority illusion, presenting themselves as authority figures or representatives of legitimate organizations. This might involve fake badges, uniforms, or official-sounding explanations for why they need your cooperation. The reciprocity trap, offering help or doing small favors to create a sense of obligation. Once you accept help, social norms make you feel obligated to reciprocate, even if their subsequent requests make you uncomfortable. The sympathy appeal, presenting themselves as victims in need of assistance. I'm lost and my phone is dead. Could you help me find this address? This exploits our natural empathy and makes us want to help, even when doing so puts us at risk. Trust your instincts, the science of intuition. Your intuitive response to danger is perhaps the most powerful tool you have for avoiding serial killers. This isn't mystical thinking. It's based on solid neuroscience and evolutionary psychology. Your brain is constantly processing subtle cues about danger that your conscious mind may not recognize, and learning to trust these responses can save your life. The neuroscience of fear. Your brain contains ancient alarm systems that evolved over millions of years to keep our ancestors alive. The amygdala, often called the brain's alarm system, can detect threats and trigger fight or flight responses faster than your conscious mind can process what's happening. Unconscious processing. Your brain processes thousands of pieces of information every second, most of which never reach your conscious awareness. When something seems off about a person or situation, your unconscious mind may have detected subtle inconsistencies in body language, vocal patterns, or behavioral cues that indicate deception or danger. Pattern recognition. Humans are exceptional at pattern recognition, even when we can't consciously articulate what patterns we're detecting. If someone reminds you of danger in a way you can't explain, your brain may be recognizing subtle similarities to other threatening encounters or warning signs you've learned to associate with danger. Microexpressions. People briefly display their true emotions in microexpressions that last only fractions of a second before being replaced by their conscious expressions. Your brain can detect these fleeting expressions of anger, contempt, or predatory interest even when you're not consciously aware of seeing them. Case study: the power of intuition. Consider the case of Carol Duranche, who escaped from Ted Bundy in 1974. Duranche later testified that something felt wrong from the moment Bundy approached her at a shopping mall, claiming to be a police officer investigating a break-in to her car. Despite Bundy's convincing performance, he had a badge, knew details about her car, and spoke with authority. Duranche felt uncomfortable. She couldn't articulate why, but something about the situation didn't feel right. When Bundy tried to handcuff her and force her into his car, she fought back and escaped. Later analysis revealed the subtle cues her intuition had detected. Bundy's badge looked wrong. His police car didn't match standard department vehicles. His questions seemed designed to isolate her rather than investigate a crime, and his body language suggested predatory interest rather than professional concern. Duranche's survival came down to trusting her intuitive discomfort despite not being able to consciously identify what was wrong. Her case became crucial evidence that eventually led to Bundy's conviction. Common intuitive warning signals. Physical sensations. Your body often signals danger before your mind recognizes it. These might include sudden nausea or stomach discomfort around certain people, hair standing up on the back of your neck, inexplicable feelings of being watched, sudden changes in your heart rate when someone approaches, a general sense of unease that you can't explain. Behavioral inconsistencies. Your subconscious mind is excellent at detecting when someone's behavior doesn't match their stated intentions. Something about their story doesn't add up, though you can't pinpoint what. Their emotional responses seem wrong for the situation. They seem to be performing emotions rather than genuinely feeling them. Their level of interest in you seems disproportionate to the situation. Environmental awareness. Your intuition often picks up on environmental cues that suggest danger. Feeling like you're being followed, even when you can't see anyone. Sensing that someone has been watching you before they approached. Feeling uncomfortable in a location for reasons you can't explain. Noticing that someone seems to know more about your routine than they should. Overcoming social conditioning. One of the biggest obstacles to trusting your instincts is social conditioning that teaches us to be polite, helpful, and non-confrontational. Serial killers exploit this conditioning, counting on your reluctance to seem rude or paranoid. The politeness trap. We're taught from childhood to be polite to strangers, to give people the benefit of the doubt, and to avoid making others uncomfortable. Predators exploit this by using social pressure to overcome your resistance to their approaches. The helpfulness exploitation. Most people, particularly women, are socialized to be helpful and accommodating. Predators specifically target this trait, knowing that most people will help someone who appears to be in need, even when doing so feels uncomfortable. The authority deference. We're conditioned to comply with authority figures, even when something feels wrong. This conditioning can override your natural alarm systems when someone presents themselves as a police officer, security guard, or other authority figure. Practical strategies for trusting your instincts. The pause technique. When someone approaches you with a request, take a moment to pause and check in with your body. How do you feel? Does something seem off? Give yourself permission to trust that feeling, even if you can't explain it rationally. The explanation test. If someone is legitimate, they should be able to provide clear, consistent explanations for their requests. If their story changes, if they become evasive when asked for details, or if they try to rush you into a decision, trust your discomfort. The verification principle: real authority figures will have no problem with you verifying their identity or their claims. If someone claiming to be a police officer won't let you call the station to confirm their identity, or if someone claiming an emergency won't let you call for official help, treat this as a major red flag. The public safety rule: legitimate requests for help can usually be handled in public spaces. If someone wants you to go somewhere private, to get in their vehicle, or to leave a public area, this should trigger immediate alarm bells. When your instincts conflict with social pressure, perhaps the most dangerous situation occurs when your instincts are screaming danger, but social pressure encourages you to ignore those warnings. This might happen when a colleague makes you uncomfortable, but everyone else seems to like them. Someone at a social gathering seems threatening, but they're popular with others. A date makes you uneasy, but mutual friends vouched for them. Someone in authority makes you uncomfortable, but questioning them seems inappropriate. In these situations, remember that your safety is more important than social comfort. It's better to seem rude or paranoid than to become a victim. Most people will understand if you explain that something didn't feel right, and those who don't understand aren't people whose opinions should matter to you. The gift of fear in action. Gavin de Becker's research has shown that victims of violent crimes often report having felt uncomfortable or afraid before the attack, but they ignored or rationalized away these feelings. In contrast, people who successfully avoided dangerous situations often report trusting their initial discomfort and removing themselves from the situation. This gift of fear is your early warning system. It's not about being paranoid or suspicious of everyone. It's about paying attention when your internal alarm system activates and taking appropriate action to protect yourself. The key is learning to distinguish between general anxiety or social discomfort and genuine danger signals. This comes with practice and self-awareness. The more you pay attention to your intuitive responses and validate them against real-world outcomes, the better you'll become at recognizing when your fear is trying to protect you. Practical safety strategies for daily life. Knowledge without application offers no protection. This chapter provides specific, actionable strategies you can implement immediately to reduce your risk of becoming a victim. These aren't paranoid precautions. They're smart safety practices that can be seamlessly integrated into your daily routine. Personal safety fundamentals. Situational awareness. This is the foundation of personal safety. Situational awareness means being conscious of your environment and the people in it, understanding what's normal for that environment, and recognizing when something is out of place. The Cooper Color Code, developed by Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper, this system helps you calibrate your awareness level. White, unaware, distracted, dangerous state. Yellow, relaxed alertness, aware of surroundings, optimal daily state. Orange, focused alertness, potential threat identified, heightened attention. Red, immediate threat, action required, fight, flight, or freeze response. Most people spend too much time in condition white, making them easy targets. Your goal is to operate primarily in condition yellow, aware but not anxious, alert but not paranoid. The OODA loop, this decision-making process, developed by military strategist John Boyd, stands for observe, orient, decide, act. In personal safety terms, observe, what's happening around you? Orient, what does this information mean? Decide, what action should you take? Act, implement your decision quickly and decisively. Communication strategies, how you communicate can either make you a target or deter predators. Confident body language, stand tall, make appropriate eye contact, move with purpose. Predators look for victims who appear uncertain, distracted, or submissive. Confident posture and alert awareness signal that you're not an easy target. Verbal boundaries, practice saying no clearly and without apology. No, I can't help you with that. No, I'm not interested. No, I need to leave now. Don't soften your refusal with explanations or apologies that can be argued with or manipulated. The broken record technique, If someone persists after you've said no, simply repeat your refusal without elaboration. I said no. My answer is still no. No means no. This prevents you from getting drawn into arguments or negotiations that can be used against you. Technology and personal safety. Smartphone security. Your phone can be your lifeline, but only if you use it strategically. Emergency contacts. Program emergency contacts under IC in case of emergency. Include local police, trusted friends or family, and consider adding a work contact who would notice if you didn't show up. Location sharing. Use location sharing features selectively with trusted contacts, particularly when you're meeting someone new or going somewhere alone. Apple's Find My and Google's location sharing can help people locate you if something goes wrong. Safety apps. Consider apps like Be Safe, Circle of Six, or Noonlight that can quickly alert contacts or emergency services. However, don't rely solely on technology. It can fail when you need it most. Social media safety. Your digital footprint can make you vulnerable to predators who study potential victims online. Privacy settings. Regularly review and tighten your privacy settings. Assume that anything you post publicly can be seen by people with malicious intent. Location services. Disable location tagging for photos and posts, especially those that reveal your home, work, or regular hangout locations. Never post real-time locations or travel plans. Personal information. Avoid sharing details about your daily routine, work schedule, living situation, or personal relationships that could be used to predict your movements or identify vulnerabilities. Safe dating practices. Online dating has created new opportunities for predators, making specific safety protocols essential. Predate safety. Always video chat before meeting in person to verify identity. Google search their name and reverse search their photos. Tell someone where you're going, who you're meeting, and when you expect to return. Plan your own transportation. Never let them pick you up for a first date. Choose a public place for first meetings, preferably somewhere you're familiar with. During the date, meet at the location rather than going together. Stay in public spaces for first meetings. Pay attention to how they treat service staff. This reveals their true character. Notice if they ask excessive personal questions while revealing little about themselves. Trust your instincts if something feels wrong, even if you can't articulate why. Red flags in dating. Pressure to meet somewhere private for a first date. Reluctance to provide their real name or contact information. Stories that don't add up or change between conversations. Excessive interest in your schedule, living situation, or personal safety measures. Anger or persistence when you set boundaries or try to slow things down. Love bombing, excessive compliments, claims of instant connection, or declaring you special too quickly. Workplace safety. Serial killers often target people in their workplace environments, either as employees, customers, or by gaining access to buildings. Office safety. Be aware of who has access to your building and question unfamiliar people who don't appear to belong. Never work alone in isolated areas, especially during off hours. Keep personal information private. Don't discuss your home address, relationship status, or daily routines with casual acquaintances. Report persistent unwanted attention from colleagues, customers, or vendors to management and HR. Trust your instincts about colleagues who make you uncomfortable, even if others seem to like them. Service industry considerations. If you work in retail, food service, or other customer-facing roles, pay special attention to customers who ask personal questions about your schedule or personal life. Remember details about you from previous visits that seem excessive. Linger after conducting business or find excuses to stay and talk. Ask other employees about your schedule or personal information. Make you feel uncomfortable in ways you can't articulate. Travel safety. Whether traveling for business or pleasure, being away from familiar environments increases your vulnerability. Hotel safety. Request a room on the 2nd to 7th floors, high enough to deter break-ins, low enough for fire department ladders. Never announce your room number publicly or leave your key card where others can see the number. Use the deadbolt and security chain whenever you're in your room. Be aware of who's around when you're entering or leaving your room. If someone knocks claiming to be hotel staff, call the front desk to verify before opening the door. Transportation safety. Use reputable transportation services and verify that your driver matches the photo and vehicle information provided. Sit behind the driver in rideshare vehicles. It's harder for them to reach you and you can see their hands. Share your trip details with someone you trust. Trust your instincts. If a driver makes you uncomfortable, ask to be let out in a safe, public location. Destination research. Research the safety profile of areas you'll be visiting. Identify safe spaces like police stations, hospitals, and busy public areas near your accommodations. Understand local emergency numbers and basic phrases if traveling internationally. Avoid sharing detailed travel plans on social media until after you return. Case study: the Night Stalker's methodology. Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, provides a terrifying example of how serial killers exploit routine vulnerabilities and poor safety practices. Ramirez targeted homes in middle-class neighborhoods, looking for specific vulnerability indicators. Target selection. Ramirez would drive through neighborhoods looking for homes that showed signs of vulnerability. Unlocked doors or windows. Poor exterior lighting. No signs of security systems. Evidence that residents felt safe enough to be careless about security. Surveillance. He would often return to areas multiple times, learning the routines of potential victims. He looked for patterns in when people came and went, when lights were turned on and off, and when homes appeared to be empty. Entry methods. Ramirez gained entry through unlocked doors and windows, or by defeating simple locks. He avoided homes with obvious security measures, preferring targets who made his job easier through poor security practices. Victim control. Once inside, he relied on the element of surprise and the natural confusion of victims who were awakened from sleep. He understood that people are most vulnerable when they're disoriented and haven't had time to think clearly about their situation. The Night Stalker case demonstrates how basic security measures could have prevented many of his attacks. Victims who had locked doors and windows, adequate lighting, and security systems were typically avoided in favor of easier targets. Home security fundamentals. Your home should be your sanctuary, but it can become a trap if you don't implement basic security measures. Physical security. Quality deadbolt locks on all exterior doors. Security film or bars on ground floor windows. Motion-activated exterior lighting. Landscaping that doesn't provide hiding places near entry points. Secure sliding doors with bars or pins to prevent forced opening. Behavioral security. Always lock doors and windows, even when you're home. Don't hide spare keys in obvious places like under doormats or fake rocks. Vary your routine when possible to avoid predictable patterns. Be cautious about service people and verify their identity before letting them in. Don't advertise expensive purchases or lifestyle details that might attract criminal attention. Social engineering defense. Be suspicious of unexpected visitors, especially those claiming emergencies. Verify the identity of anyone claiming to represent utilities, delivery services, or government agencies. Don't provide personal information to unsolicited callers or visitors. Be aware that criminals often pose as lost travelers, people with car trouble, or individuals seeking help. The psychology of deterrence. Understanding what deters serial killers can help you project the qualities that make predators look elsewhere for victims. Awareness. Predators avoid people who appear alert and aware of their surroundings. Make eye contact with people around you, keep your head up, and project confidence in your environment. Unpredictability. Vary your routines when possible. Take different routes, change your schedule occasionally, and avoid patterns that make you easy to predict and target. Social connections. People who appear to have strong social connections are less attractive targets because they're more likely to be missed quickly. Stay connected with friends and family, And make sure people know your general whereabouts and schedule. Competence. Project an image of competence and self-sufficiency. Predators prefer victims who appear helpless or dependent. Learn basic self-defense, understand your environment, and demonstrate that you're capable of taking care of yourself.